it shall not return void until it does the thing it was set out to do. This is the word you've been waiting on. The message is called transformational thinking. It is out of Romans 12:2. What you think about is what you become. And I want to challenge you to change the way you think so that you can change the outcome of your life. Could be your attitude is controlling your altitude. It could be that the things that you think are hindering you far more than the things that other people say or think about you. We're going into the word today. We're talking about transformational thinking. I want you to open your heart and receive this, and I'll be back at the end to tell you more. Take care. So much that we are trying to change our mind. We are trying to change our lives by the renewing of our minds. Okay, so if you think of your mind as the steering wheel, okay, that determines the direction of your destiny in life, then we are transforming our lives by the way we turn our mind. You're going to throw your mind at it. It is no accident that you came into this world head first. And every change that matters in your life is going to start head first. If you quit drinking, you're going to do it in your head before you do it in your body. If you decide I'm not going to be promiscuous, it starts in your head, not your body. If you decide I'm going to go back to school or change my career, it starts in your head, not your body. If you decide I'm getting out of debt, it hits your head before it hits your wallet. If you decide you're going to lose weight, do you not know you're going to get skinny in your head before you get skinny in your body? Look at somebody and tell them, I got a skinny head. It may not have hit my body yet, bless God, but in my head, I'm a very thin, fit, healthy, vivacious, outgoing, and might I add, good-looking individual. Isn't that weird? If it doesn't start in your head, it almost doesn't matter what's in your body. You can lose weight in your body, but if you have a different image in your head, you can become anorexic in your head and never be satisfied with the changes in your body, because whatever's going on in here, that becomes your reality. You can be as pretty as a picture, but if you see yourself as ugly, you'll never embrace yourself. It's a head thing, dear. You're transformed by the renewing of your mind. Somebody, I don't know who it was, got a picture. It was an amazing picture to me because it was a close-up picture of me holding the apple seed. You remember, how many of you remember last week me peeling the apple? I got all kinds of comments about peeling the apple. They said they was afraid I was going to cut myself from peeling the apple. Amen. They didn't know my mother had a little junior slave in me. I've been peeling apples since I was 2. They said, oh, you peel that apple so good. I guess I did. I was in solitary confinement, peeling apples on the back porch all of my life. And so if transformation is going to start by identifying your core, you're only going to be transformed to the degree you were created. You cannot take an apple seed and transform it into a tomato. It's not going to happen. No matter how much you like tomatoes and need tomatoes, if you get down to the seed, if the seed is an apple seed, all you can do is transform it into the highest, best expression of itself. It can turn into an apple plant, it can turn into an apple blossom, it can turn into an apple tree, but it can't turn into chicken salad. So there are some things that you may be trying to turn into that are not central to who you are in your core, who you were created to be. And you will frustrate yourself trying to be something that is adverse and opposed to what you were created to be. In fact, what God says, he says, I want you to be transformed by the renewing of your mind, Romans 12:2, that you may be able to prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. He said, I want your life to prove what God had in mind, perfect will of God, when he made you. I want you to shine at what you were created to be. I said, I want you to shine at what you were created to be. And the reason I'm teaching this at the first of the year is so that you don't spend 2014 perhaps the way you might have spent 2012 and 2013 trying to turn yourself into something that you are not, or spending your energies in efforts where there is no life so that you can focus on the thing you were created to be, because that's where you're going to be fruitful. That's where you're going to be effective. That's where you're going to be your best. That's where you're going to be rewarded. That's where your prosperity is. That's where your peace is. That's where your power is. And that's where your passion is. That's what excites you. That's what makes you leap out the bed in the morning. That's what puts a gleam in your eye and the step in your walk. That is your core. When we start talking about transformational thinking, it is a new way of processing old information. The situation doesn't change before the perspective does. It is a new way of processing old information. The situation doesn't change before the perspective does. Sometimes the only thing you can change is how you think about it. I see people all the time who are frustrated trying to change things over which you have no control. Got your mouth all in other people's business. You don't have nothing to do with it, cannot control it, and you're up all night frustrated about something that is outside of the realm of your ability to affect change. So when we start talking about transformational thinking, it means I need a new perspective of looking at my life. I need a new perspective of looking at my life. I need a new perspective of looking at my wife. I need a new perspective of looking at my husband. I need a new perspective of looking at my children. I need a new perspective of looking at my parents. I need a new way of thinking about old situations. I can't really get into this without, I tried to get around it, but I just cannot get around this without talking about the prodigal son who comes down, who let me first set it up by saying he goes from being moved by his urges to being changed by his instinct. I wanted to find the difference between urges and instinct. It was an urge that made him want to leave home. A flesh urge, a craving for control and recognition. We all have urges. And the urge led him out of the Father's house, out of God's will, out of his purpose, away from his core values, away from his brand. Urges always deplete you. Urges, temporary impulses, cause you to make permanent changes that disrupt the most valuable things in your life. There are people in this room right now, you have been spiraling down, 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 and praying all the way down and can't figure out why. You're praying right, but you're being led by your urges and not by your instincts. You sowed a special seed, but then you went to work and flipped out on your boss because you have your mother's temper, and your urge to get the last word is destroying your economic opportunities. And even though you pay your tithes, you're going down because you're being led by urges. And not by instincts. You can be praying one thing with your mouth and being led by something else in your life and trying to figure out why prayer is not working. Prayer isn't working because urges are driving the car. And on an urge, the prodigal son got a wild hair in him and said, give me the portion of goods that follows unto me. They divided unto them his living, and he began to spend his substance in riotous living. Spend, urges make you spend. Spend yourself, spend your energy, spend your time, spend your charisma. You're spending more and gaining less. Urges will always make withdrawals. They will not make deposits. Until finally he bankrupted the hog pen and got down to the hog pen and had come down to absolutely nothing. And he could tell that his urges were driving him down by who he was comfortable to be with. If you don't have the courage to assess your own account and see where you are in terms of depletion, look at who you are comfortable to be with, and it will tell you where you are. If you have gone from the Father's house to fellowship with the hogs in the hog pen, look at your buddies, because your buddies are a picture. Oh, you look uncomfortable. Of where you're at. I'm telling you right now, I can tell everything I need to know about you if you let me have your cell phone. Between your cell phone and your credit card, I don't even have to meet you. Because where you spend your time and where you spend your money tells me what's valuable and what is your priority in life. And you are where you are today between how you handle your money and how you handle your time. And if you handle your money and you handle your time in alignment to your urges rather than investing in your instincts, then that is why you are where you are right now. Successful people invest their time instinctively rather than following their urges.
Still
Of seeds and getting down to our core, I must warn you about the dark place. If we cut the apple all the way down to the core and extract the seed and get down to the purest thing that we're going to focus on, finding the purest thing alone does not bring about the transformation.
Amen. Amen.
The transformation cannot totally be complete through discovery. It has to go from discovery, we found the seed, to putting the seed in the dark place. The seed cannot germinate in the light. The only place where the seed can be transformed is if you have the faith and the courage to put it in the dark place. The dark place. We all have it. The dark place is the place where you swear you're gonna die. Where your heart is broken so bad you don't even care if you do. I don't care how rich you are. Please hear this. I don't care what you drive or where you live or how talented or how gifted you might be. Sooner or later, before your promotion, before your elevation, before your success, before your consecration, before your renewal, before your celebration, before your victory, you must be willing to spend time in the dark place. There is a place in every person's life that is so dark And you come to church and you sit here and you think nobody else in this building goes through what I go through. They don't understand, because for many of us, the dark place is not about the finances or the car or the house. It might be going on between your two ears. It's in your head. It's in your mind, or it's in your health, or it's in the fact that you can't get loved the way you need to be loved, or held the way you need to be held. And you're successful in every other area, but in the area where you feel like you need it most, you cannot find it. I'm trying to tell you that God always reserves a place to plant his seed. And that the seed will always germinate in the dark place. And I know you've been praying for God to remove the dark place. But you cannot be transformed without the dark place. The dark place changes your priorities, strips away the residue of your flesh. The dark place brings you to your knees, to a place of humility where you surrender because of the pain of your dark place. You listen when you wouldn't listen before, and you hear what you wouldn't hear before, because the dark place is so painful that it humbles your arrogance and brings you to submission and brings you down to your knees because... Oh, hallelujah. Somebody in this room knows what I'm talking about, because you've been walking around in a dark place. You got dressed in a dark place. You drove to work in a dark place. You comb your hair in a dark place. You're all dressed up, but you're in a dark place. You spray cologne on it, but you're in a dark place. You put makeup on, but you're in a dark place. The people who work with you don't know that they're working with somebody who's in a dark place, and you're laying in the bed beside somebody who's in a dark place. How you doing? I'm fine. What do you want? Coffee. What did you cook? Eggs. All of your lines are being recited from a dark place, not because you don't have something, but because you do have something. God said there is too much in you to leave you on the shelf. I put you in the dark place so that I could bless you and show you your possibilities and your potential. And you cannot grow in the light. You can only develop when I plant you in a dark place. So I dug a hole and I threw you in it and I covered you up. Trust me, you're not going to die. You will not die in your dark place, but you will think you're going to die in your dark place. It is in the dark place where the seed goes through transformation. It is in the dark place where life begins to form. No life forms outside of the womb. The womb is to the baby what the ground is to the seed. All consummation occurs in a dark place. Whenever God is working his work and doing his magic, he will always do it in the dark place. That's why the creation says the evening and the morning were the first day, because God's day doesn't start morning to evening. It starts evening to morning. That's why the Bible said weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. You cry in the dark place so that you can dance in the daylight. I want to tell you about the dark place, because the Lord assured me that there'd be somebody here in the dark place. And you don't think anybody knows how bad you hurt. And I just came to tell you, I'm your pastor, and I do too. Knowing the scriptures doesn't stop you from having to live through them. Explaining it doesn't circumvent going through it. You cannot have resurrection without crucifixion. That's why the sun refused to shine. Because even Jesus was transformed in the dark place. Oh my God, you should feel what I feel in this room right now. Because I feel thousands and thousands of people who are having that aha moment. That's why I'm being tormented. That's why I'm in this season of distress. That's why my heart is overwhelmed. That's why I can't see my way clear. I didn't realize that he covered me up, that he didn't bury me, he planted me. I said he didn't bury me, he planted me. And this is a season of gestation, that when I come forth, I shall come forth as pure gold. It's in the dark place that I learned not to be petty. It's in the dark place that I learned to change my priorities. It's in the dark place that I get the grace to forgive people, because I said, whatever you did to me, it ain't as bad as what I'm going through now. It's in the dark place where my character is transformed. It's in the dark place that I learned to say, I'm sorry. It's in the dark place that I conceived the notion I could have been wrong. It's in the dark place that I reset my priorities, realign my agenda. In the dark place, I get the courage to let people go that I couldn't let go before, because I'm already hurt too bad to incur any more damage, and I thought I couldn't live without you. But when I got in the dark place,